the frozen summit. As the frigid winds howled atop Mount Everest, a team of climbers embarked on an expedition, driven by the allure of conquering the world's tallest peak. Among them was Emma, a seasoned mountaineer with a thirst for adventure, and her companions, a mix of experienced climbers and ambitious novices. Their journey began smoothly, but as they ascended higher, the air grew thinner, and the temperature plummeted to bone-chilling depths. Despite the harsh conditions, they pressed on, driven by their determination to reach the summit. Each day brought new challenges: treacherous icefalls, unpredictable avalanches, and the ever-present threat of altitude sickness. Yet, the team remained resolute, their spirits lifted by the camaraderie and the breathtaking beauty of the mountain. The higher they climbed, the more they felt the thin air burn in their lungs, and the biting cold seep through their layered clothing. They were acutely aware of the mountain's perilous reputation, but nothing could have prepared them for what lay ahead. One fateful night, as they huddled in their makeshift camp, a piercing scream shattered the stillness of the mountain. Emma and her team sprang from their tents, hearts pounding with a mix of fear and adrenaline. As they rushed outside, the moonlight cast eerie shadows across the icy landscape. The sight that greeted them was straight from their worst nightmares. Frozen corpses, their twisted forms contorted in agony, began to emerge from the ice. The climbers watched in horror as skeletal hands broke through the snow, followed by torsos encased in frost, their clothes tattered and skin mottled blue from the cold. The dead rose slowly, their movements jerky and unnatural, as if driven by some malevolent force. Hollow eyes gleamed with a sinister light, and their mouths hung open in silent screams. Emma felt a chill that had nothing to do with the freezing temperature as she saw the ghastly procession. Some of the corpses were ancient, their features barely recognizable, while others were more recent, their faces frozen in expressions of sheer terror. As they lumbered forward, the stench of decay mingled with the crisp mountain air, creating a nauseating blend that filled the climbers with dread. The team scrambled to retreat, but the frozen dead moved with surprising speed, their icy hands reaching out to grasp anything warm. The climbers fought desperately to fend off the macabre onslaught, using ice axes and poles, but the dead seemed unstoppable, their icy touch draining the warmth from their victims. Amidst the chaos, Emma caught glimpses of the faces of the dead. Some were frozen in contorted expressions of pain. Others bore wounds from long-forgotten accidents or battles, their blood still frozen in crimson icicles. One horrifying figure had a shattered jaw, hanging loosely as it advanced, emitting a ghastly wheezing sound. As dawn broke over the mountain, the survivors regrouped, their numbers diminished by the night's horrors. The air was thick with the smell of death and the remnants of their struggle. With no other choice but to continue their ascent, they pressed on, haunted by the ghastly specter of death that loomed over them. Higher and higher they climbed, their spirits weighed down by the chilling reminder of their mortality. With each step, the frozen dead grew more numerous, their horrid appearance a testament to the unforgiving nature of the mountain. Days blended into a blur of exhaustion and terror. Every crevasse, every shadow, seemed to conceal another horror. The once magnificent ice sculptures now looked like frozen sentinels, guarding the secrets of the mountain. The relentless climb took its toll. Frostbite gnawed at their fingers and toes, and the thin air left them gasping for breath. Each night brought fresh nightmares, as the whispers of the dead echoed through their camp, mingling with the howling wind. Despite their fear, Emma and her companions pushed forward, driven by the tantalizing promise of reaching the summit. But as they neared their goal, they realized too late the true cost of their ambition. The mountain, it seemed, had a life of its own, and it demanded a steep price for their audacity. For as they stood triumphantly atop the world, they realized they were not alone. The summit, bathed in the pale light of dawn, revealed a horrifying sight. The frozen dead had surrounded them, their ghastly forms looming in the icy mist. Some stood silently, while others swayed as if in a trance, their eyes locked onto the climbers with an unholy hunger. Emma's heart raced as the full horror of their situation dawned on them. The thrill of their achievement turned to ashes in their mouths as they saw the faces of the dead up close. One figure had its eyes frozen wide open, its face twisted in a permanent scream. Another had a gaping wound in its chest, through which a glistening shard of ice protruded. With a sickening realization, Emma knew that they had become just like them. Eternal inhabitants of Mount Everest's frozen wasteland. The frozen dead closed in, their eyes sea-breathed visible in the frigid air, and the climbers' desperate attempts to fend them off were futile. The mountain's chilling embrace tightened around them, sealing their fate. Their screams echoed across the icy expanse as Mount Everest claimed its latest victims, their fates sealed by the mountain's merciless embrace. And as the wind swept away their final cries, the frozen dead watched silently, their twisted faces forever etched in the unforgiving landscape. The summit they had so eagerly sought had become their tomb, and a grim warning to all who dared to challenge the mountain's might. Thank you for watching. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and smash the bell icon for more.